Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News, coming to you from our studio here at Adesaway in Accra. My name is Martin Aseidu. Dartey. Coming up for the next 30 minutes. 3 senior police officers under investigation over the leaked audio tape have been interdicted. We have details of that for you in a jiffy to find out what exactly this means, also for the current parliamentary probe, which is also ongoing. Later in the bulletin, management of the Nima Polyclinic have served notice to vacate the facility to pave way for its redevelopment for Agenda 111 project. In the meantime, that also comes on the back of the La General Hospital, which was also demolished in the name of a reconstruction, which citizens and residents in the area say has not materialized. We'll get you updates of this story as well. And later, we'll be taking a quick trip up north where the Bagri Dam is to be spilled and to find out what exactly the plans are to evacuate people who may be in the waterway and farmlands that may be affected. We are live around the world on 3news.com. Do be a part of the show. Be happy to hear what your thoughts are. This is 3FM 92.7. Let's settle for the details of our stories now, and we are starting from the Ghana Police Service, which has interdicted 3 senior officers in connection with the leaked audio tape, which is now a subject of parliamentary inquiry. Commissioner of Police, COP George Alex Mensah, Superintendent Emmanuel Eric JB, and Superintendent George Lysander Asari have been implicated in an alleged plot to oust the Inspector General of Police, and they have been placed on interdiction while further disciplinary procedures are pursued in compliance with the police service protocols. COP Alex Mensah and Superintendent Asari, who appeared before the parliamentary committee, have admitted their voices are on the tape, but have questioned its authenticity, claiming that it has been doctored. The first witness, Alhaji Bugri Nabu, who revealed the alleged plot against the IGP, has vouched for the authenticity of the tape. Later, we'll be finding out from my colleague who has actually been following these proceedings in court in the last few days, and we'll be updating us as well. But let's go to the specifics of the statement that was released today from the Ghana Police Service. It says that it is headlined, "Police interdict 3 officers." It says the police service has interdicted Commissioner of Police COP George Alex Mensah, Superintendent Emmanuel Eric JB, and Superintendent George Lysander Asari in connection with the audio tape, which has become a subject matter of investigation by Parliament. The interdiction is to make way for disciplinary proceedings into their conduct in line with police service regulations. And this is signed by Grace Ansa Akrofi, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Director at the Public Affairs Unit of the Ghana Police Service. Duke Opoku-Mensah has joined me in studio for us to actually take a look at maybe a bit of a backstory as to how all of this is played out. Duke, thank you for your time. Good afternoon. What exactly have you, or what other information have you picked up regarding this interdiction?
Well, so for the past 2 weeks, the parliamentary committee set up by the Speaker has been looking into these matters. And if you look at the gamut of issues that have surfaced at that committee, it has been the call of many for one, either the remit of the committee to be expanded so that it moves away from just doing fact-finding work to other germane issues regarding the police service, regarding what has come up there, or another committee is set up entirely to do work that is far-reaching. Some have also said that looking at the issues that have come up, it would be necessary for the police service itself to do an introspection and try and find out what is going wrong and what is going right. So I think that in a way, this decision by the Police Council, which is the high decision-making body, is a decision to kill one bird, to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, if I may put it that way. One, a disciplinary action that would look, one as a disciplinary action to find out what could have triggered police officers to do this, and probably find out what has whether this will find remit within the confines of misconduct in the police service, and then two, to serve as an investigation into what is going on in the police service with the view of getting some reforms to reshape and put the police service back in good shape.
Right. So, beyond the last few days that the parliamentary committee has been sitting, do we know when next they will be sitting and who is likely to be invited? There were speculations that the IGP himself may be invited.
What we know is that the committee has acquired a new tape or a fresh tape, which is supposed to be much more comprehensive and fuller in duration compared to the 50-minute audio tape that has been the basis, the raw material or the source material, if you like, for them over the past 2 weeks. So what they want to do is to listen to that fuller audio tape, see if new names would emerge, how different is that from what they've already listened to, and how they analyze that. Apart from that, they have one petition before them where some senior police officers, former, have decided they want to help the committee to do their work. If we're in court, we would say that they have filed an amicus brief. They want to help the committee to do their work. So it is only prudent, and the chairman of the committee has indicated that they will reach out to them. So it's likely we will see them. Again, there is the case of Inspector Sali and 81 other police officers who have also filed a writ at the court over issues of promotion. Police promotion is one of the major issues that have come up. Okay. So all these are gamut of issues that they would want to look at, and the next time they will say it, we'll probably have new witnesses before them. Even these ones, they've not been left off the hook yet.
Okay.
For instance, the committee has begged the principal witnesses not to travel out of the Ghanaian jurisdiction because they may have to be brought back.
Okay. Thank you for those quick updates and the probable fallouts from how all of this is playing out. Duke Opoku-Mensah is my colleague who's been monitoring this developing story for us. Let's go to the phone lines now and engage the thoughts of David Agbe, who is the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Mr. Agbe, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good afternoon, Martin.
Good to have you. To start with, what are your initial thoughts on what the statement from the Ghana Police Service is saying, that these men who are already before a parliamentary committee investigating this or trying to find more facts about this issue are also now on interdiction by the Ghana Police Service?
Martin, I think that security-related issues are very essential to a country like ours. And if you pay attention keenly to the committee and the kind of revelations that has come out of those people who were interrogated, there is nothing more than what the police has done to actually interdict the 3 police officers who are being interrogated by the parliamentary select committee. So I think that if they are not interdicted, it suggests that the police administration is not paying attention to what those senior police officers have been saying at the committee level. So when you read the Police Administration Act itself, it tells you that senior officers like that, in the level of the communications and what they've said so far, tells you that they've actually breached their code of conduct, and they've breached the code of ethics as far as they are police officers. And more to the point, the issues that they've raised so far affect the fundamental principles of national security. And so it is in the right direction that the police administration has decided to actually interdict them for further interrogations, and before Parliament comes out with a comprehensive report, they themselves have actually taken an immediate measures to be able to ensure that those gentlemen, if I could put it so, those gentlemen face the consequences of their own misconduct. So I think that it is right in direction for police service for itself to send a signal that senior police officers should not compromise anything of national security. Because
Mr. Agbe, isn't this interdiction late in the day, considering the fact that this issue of the leak tape had been in the public domain for a number of weeks, I should say, before even Parliament decided to set up a committee to look into it? So if those that the issue affected directly, the Ghana Police Service that is, are now asking these officers to be interdicted, is that not an action late in the day?
You could say so, but it looks as if the police administration were paying attention to the details of the communication level at which those three officers have gone to the committee and what they've said. And we are basing the argument on the fundamental principles of how security agencies and how security officers need to conduct themselves in a public. And so, by what they've done so far, I think that they should have taken that action long ago. But I think the three officers have spoken beyond national boundaries, and therefore, if the police administration does not take any action, it will suggest that they themselves are compromising the security of the country. So it is a step in the right direction for them be sanctioned for now. To ensure that they go deep into the matter so that whoever have breached the code of conduct, those people need to be punished severely.
Right. And what is your interpretation of those who say this interdiction clearly means that these officers are guilty of the alleged plot to oust a certain IGP?
You see, we were all in this country that a certain senior police officer, ASP Agojo, only what happened? A WhatsApp conversation, which was not part of it. But when he was found to be part of, those people on the WhatsApp group, look at the consequences that he has gone through. So how much more senior police officers who want to, impeach, who want to, cause a war against the IGP itself? It compromises national security. And the president is not happy with what this gentleman has done because, it was the president who appointed the IGP. So anybody who wants to sabotage the IGP, anybody who is showing that level of insubordination to the IGP needs to be punished.
Right.
And so I sincerely believe that the president is not comfortable with the kind of conversation that the senior police officers have had so far. And the police administration too, they are not comfortable because it borders on national security. And what the officers have done is a misconduct of their own profession, which, for now, those people, if they are ordinary people like myself and you, by now would have been arrested. And so I think that the interdiction is a lesson to all of them.
Okay. My final question, and if you could be brief on it for me, would be that your institution is the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. This particular subject of discussion borders largely on security, but then there is a political angle to it as well, where one of the key suspects or voices on that tape, Bugri Nabu, who is politically exposed, has brought some kind of political angle to the conversation. How should the government and the NPP, for that matter, handle this in terms of their public commentary on it, and what should the outcome or expectation be?
I think if I am to advise the NPP administration, I would say that they need to be measured because anything that they say is more like they themselves want to sabotage the president because it is the president that appointed the IGP. So anybody who wants to cause a coup against the IGP should not be allowed to do that. And so I think that MPP as a political party who gave the power to the president, and the president also gave some part of his powers to the IGP for him to work to maintain national security. They need to be measured in their communication and tell Bugri Nabu and other people that nobody should sabotage whoever the president has appointed so far.
Thank you so much for your time, David Agbe. Been a while hearing your voice. Thank you very much for talking to us. He is the executive director for the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. And so, if you're just joining us, the big news is that the 3 police officers who were heard on a leaked audio tape alleged to be plotting to take out the IGP or to oust the IGP have now been interdicted by the police service itself. And you would also know that Parliament is already undertaking an inquiry into the leaked audio tape. A number of angles and varied positions have been shared on this leaked audio tape, where these officers have come out to question the authenticity or veracity of the tape. So it looks as though we have a long way to go ahead of us regarding this particular subject. On to some other stories we have for you this afternoon. And the management of Nima Polyclinic here in Accra has been served notice to vacate the facility to pave way for its redevelopment as part of the Agenda 111 projects. 3FM sources reveal that the hospital authorities have been given up to September 15, 2023 to pack out for its demolition. The move has sparked concerns among the staff and residents in the wake of a similar demolition of the La General Hospital some 3 years ago, ostensibly for a redevelopment. Let's speak to Sarah Apenkrom, who has been finding out more about what this really means, especially for the residents who use this facility on a daily basis. Sarah, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. First of all, what are some of the staff members of the facility telling you? They all have this notice to vacate, right?
Well, yes, Matt, like you rightly said, I tried to engage management of the facility. They were not willing to speak on camera, but they confirmed they've gotten a notice. And so they are supposed to work with the Ghana Health Service for the staff who would be leaving the places where have been allocated for the demolition to be deployed to other places. So I engaged the MCE this morning, and she told me, yes, they have given the site to government, and so on the 15th, the demolition will be done. But at most parts of the facility, leaving a newly built 2-story building facility there, which would be operating alongside the construction work. That's what the MCE said. It's been mixed reaction among the populace, actually. Some are okay with it, but I entreating government to be swift with the construction, because they are alleging people from La General are also coming here. And so there's going to be more pressure if only one 2-story facility is going to serve them, as well as people coming from other parts of the vicinity.
And Sarah, for those who may not know the hospital and what exactly or where exactly it is, where do people usually come from? And now that it's going to be shut down for demolition, are there alternative health facilities within the vicinity that people can go to?
So the Nima Polyclinic is actually located at the Nima roundabout. So it is opposite the filling station. But the MCE tells us there are a number of chiefs compounds within the vicinity, which is already serving the healthcare service delivery purpose. So it wouldn't be much of a problem if the facility is pulled down. She also mentioned the Mamobi Polyclinic, which is also not so far from the place where they are hoping residents can make use of. So it appears they have a plan cut out for the whole demolition exercise for the Agenda 111 project to be built.
Right. And maybe finally, before you go, do we have timelines of when this demolition will happen and when government is expected to complete the new project?
Yes, the Assembly tells me the demolition will take place on the 15th of this month. That's in a few days' time. But they are only assuring that immediately the demolition is done and the land site is cleared, the contractors will be moving to the site and start work. So they are assuring the residents that it's in the good interest of them, and they assure them the project would start early and will be completed within time, because the MCE was saying that they were supposed to provide the land space with Pram, and Pram has already gotten to 80% of their projects being completed. So they are way behind time, and they need to make the land space available for the project to begin as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Sarah Apenkro, who's reporting from the Nima Health Facility, which is has been earmarked for demolition in the next few days. We've been told that the workers there have been given an ultimatum to move ahead of that demolition exercise. We'll keep you posted on how this plays out. Staying within the health sector, in the first quarter of 2023, over 300 health workers reportedly left Ghana, or the Ghana Health Service, that is, in the Ashanti region to pursue better opportunities abroad. Nearly 150 experienced nurses and other health professionals from the Pantang Hospital are reported to have left the country in search of greener pastures in the last 6 years. Answering questions from the media at a press briefing in Accra, the Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu assured Ghanaians that there is no cause for alarm despite the brain drain.
Health worker migration remains the major challenge affecting staff retention. This has become a global phenomenon and not very unique to Ghana. We are, however, collaborating with the Minister of Labour on a migration policy in the sector to address the current and future issues. The policy will focus on the following. 1, strengthening mechanisms for production, deployment, retention, and reintegration of health workforce to meet local and global demands. Working within local and international frameworks for health workforce deployment and reintegration, and ensuring financial and brain gain from international deployment of health workforce through mutually beneficial bilateral agreements.
Now, according to the health minister, health professionals are not leaving the country because of bad pay, but because of a global demand for their skills following the COVID-19 pandemic.
Before COVID, were we talking about brain drain of nurses? After COVID, there is a massive global health workforce shortage. So an opportunity has been created, and therefore those who are adventurous would like to take advantage of what opportunity is elsewhere. Government started managing migration in small quantities from Ghana to Barbados. We have sent 2 cohorts of 125 in the second instance to Barbados. There are other countries that are knocking at our doors to try to see if we can offload some of our nurses to them. That is why we said that we are working with the Ministry of Labour and Employment, is that correct? Employment and Labour Ministry.
And that's the voice of the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, addressing concerns about the health professionals who are exiting the shores of Ghana. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is the Midday News. And let's go to one of the big stories we have for you this afternoon, having to do with road safety. Now, it's been 4 days after a truck ran into one of the toll booths on the Tema motorway, leaving the entire structure in a dangerous position, especially for motorists. Coupled with the threat posed by this dangerous toll booth on the Tema motorway, the Tema bound side of the motorway, are gaping potholes strewn along the long stretch of the 19-kilometer road, which has become a hassle for motorists who ply the motorway. The hashtag Fix the Motorway has been trending on social media, with citizens calling on government to address the safety concerns on the motorway. Let's speak to George Queening, who is our man reporting live from the Tema motorway. He's joined us for a quick update. George, good afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Martin. Good afternoon, Martin.
Right. Okay. So first of all, where exactly are you? What can you see? Report that for us now.
Martin, I'm actually at the first toll booth when you're coming from Accra, and as you mentioned, there was this accident on the part of that, facility. And as it stands now, the debris is yet to be cleared, and so it has 5 lanes. So because of the very accident, now only 2 of the lanes are accessible. So mostly when the drivers are getting close to that very toll booth, there's some sort of traffic. So you can imagine when it's a rush hour. And apart from that, when it comes to infractions on the stretch, they are still persistent. And these are the major causes of the road accidents on the stretch. And you have people parking on the shoulder, drivers parking along the shoulders of the road without even showing any really signal or warning. And, along the sides of the stretch, there are squatters living there. So in all the activities, they try to cross to the other side, be it they are going to buy something or what. They try crossing, but as far as that, they are not consistent, they are not bothered. But this is a highway. The limit on this stretch is 100 kilometers per hour. And even because of these bad Muslims, the nature of the road stands out, there are potholes, these gullies that have been created. This very stretch was opened in the year 1965 by Kwame. And so, according to a transportation expert, he says, as opposed to the, what has been sanctioned, 100 kilometers per hour, if you even go beyond 70 kilometers, you are doing that at your own risk because of the potholes that have been created. Martin, when you look at the stretch, under the asphalt are concrete. And now, when you look at these deep potholes, you can actually see that the concrete are exposed, and they are very deep. And every bound stretch has 2 lanes. So, Martin, if let's say you're driving one of the lanes, and the other one has the potholes, and you're driving on the one that has the potholes, when you're getting close, you are tempted to veer to the other side.
Right.
But there's a driver on that side. So sometimes, if you don't really maneuver your way well,
you're likely to be involved in an accident.
It's a serious issue here.
Right. And do we know when they are likely to come and clear the debris that you mentioned?
Okay, as it stands, it's been cordoned off. You see that tape that usually, is used to cordon off. So I think maybe, once I've seen that, maybe it will be any time soon. But, the government will assure that they're going to revamp the stretch. So if that is anything to go by, I'm sure we will heave a sigh of relief. I know you are a frequent, cooperator on that stretch, so I'm sure you will heave a sigh of relief.
Certainly. Thank you very much, George Queening. And like you said, I use that stretch myself every day. And this is a serious story. We hope that government is able to get to action as soon as possible. Away from that, we have information coming from the Volta River Authority, and this is in line with the spillage of the Bagri Dam. So it says that Sonabel, the power utility of Burkina Faso, has advised the Volta River Authority that due to high inflows into the Bagri Dam, high reservoir elevations have been recorded, which has necessitated the spillage of water from the Bagri Dam. Consequently, the water levels of the White Volta River and its tributaries are expected to rise with the spill discharge from a Bagri Dam coupled with the high rainfall in the northern part of the country. This means that areas along the White Volta River especially are at a high risk of flooding. Accordingly, all stakeholders, residents, chiefs, opinion leaders, security agencies as well as the general public are to take note of this flood alert and take the necessary precautionary measures to avoid being adversely affected by the spillage of the Bagri Dam. The VRA will continue to monitor the situation and provide more information when necessary. So that's just by way of update. The specific date of the spillage hasn't been mentioned in the statement, but we know that they are going to be doing that. So by now, we know NADMO should be headed there to at least help those. The question, however, remains, how soon will we be able to avert these annual ritual of a spillage that causes farmlands to be submerged and homes to be destroyed? In subsequent bulletins, we will update you on that and many more. Now, it does not appear that the migration of health workers from Ghana to other parts from Ghana to other parts of the world will end anytime soon. But the health minister, Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sam Jonah, has called for collective consensus to discourage conditions that create fertile grounds for corruption to fester. Addressing the 2023 annual general meeting of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana in Takoradi on Wednesday, Dr. Sam Jonah called on the citizenry, especially politicians and public office holders, to speak out on issues of corruption to safeguard the society.
I am not against small-scale mining. What I am against is the manner in which the laws of the country are flouted with impunity to destroy water bodies and the soils and the environment for the many so that just a few can make money. Illegal mining is not about the lack of laws. It's about the will to want to enforce the laws. The law is very clear. You cannot mine within a certain distance proximity of a water body. The law is very clear about how you dispose of your waste from your mining activities. The law is very clear on lawful activities in forest reserves. The law is also very clear. Foreigners cannot engage in small-scale mining. And for those who are licensed, the law requires regular reporting to the Minerals Commission and other regulatory bodies, which is expected to be monitoring activities. So in the age of drones, the Minerals Commission should be capable of monitoring all mining activities in real time. How is it then possible that the Minerals Commission seems powerless to stop the activities the people are seeing and suffering from? What is going on? Why are those empowered to protect the people looking on or away, whilst these heinous activities destroying the very basis of life in our communities are going on?
And that's the voice of Dr. Sam Jonah, or Sir Sam Jonah, the only Sir in Ghana, and talking about the issues of corruption and the need for all of us to put our shoulders to the wheel to help Ghana steer away from the ritual of corruption. You're on 3FM 92.7. Before we wrap up, though, a quick update on the fact that later this afternoon, the Black Stars of Ghana will be locking horns with their counterparts from the Central African Republic on the last qualifier for the Africa Cup of Nations. A win or point is all Ghana needs, and if we are unable to get that, then it means we've been knocked out. However, there is high optimism that the Black Stars will do the do. So that game will be at the Kumasi Sports Stadium, where our sports team will also be updating you subsequently. And on the note, we end the bulletin. My name is Martin Aseidu. Dartey. Thank you very much for listening. Up next is Business with Bismark. Awusah. Do stay tuned.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Business Daily, and coming up this afternoon, ECOWAS member states likely to miss the 2026 deadline of the convergence criteria for the single currency ECO. Meanwhile, the West African Monetary Institute, WAMI, has called for unified insurance regulations among ECOWAS member states. And banking consultant describes as long overdue efforts to rescue the struggling National Investment Bank. Details after this break. Thanks for your company. Now to our very first story. The 2026 deadline set for ECOWAS member countries to meet all the convergence criteria for the launch of the ECO seem to be unrealistic, as member countries consistently fail to meet all four primary convergence criteria over the period. At the opening of the 46th Joint Ordinary Meeting of the Technical Committees of the West African Monetary Agency, Director General of WAMA, Momodu Bamba Sahu, called for a review of strategies and reforms to ensure member states align and overcome the challenges.
At the end of December 2022, no member state met all four primary convergence criteria. 4 member states, Benin, Niger, Guinea, and Liberia, complied with at least 3 primary convergence criteria. In summary, while we have made progress in certain areas, there is a clear need for enhanced strategies and reforms to ensure that all member states align with our shared goals. Together, we can navigate these challenges and lay the foundation for a prosperous ECOWAS. As we review the Director General's progress report for the first half of 2023, we will gather deeper insights into our achievements and the road ahead.
And that was Director General of WAMA, Momodu Bamba Saho. Moving on, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituain has described as long overdue the efforts to rescue the struggling National Investment Bank, NIB. These remarks come in response to reports of the government's intentions to facilitate ADB's takeover of NIB. My colleague Michael Ogbodu has the rest of the story.
Discussions regarding the merger of Agricultural Development Bank ADB and the National Investment Bank NIB have been ongoing since 2018. However, these discussions faced obstacles, including strong opposition from ADB's labor union. Recently, these merger talks have resurfaced, with reports suggesting that the government is considering a plan for ADB to assume control of NIB's operations. This decision arises from the necessity to restructure NIB, a state-owned institution that has encountered numerous challenges in recent years. Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituain has expressed his belief that this intervention should have been initiated much earlier.
The ADB case and the NIB case it didn't come yesterday. I mean, even 2017, when I did a paper on these banks, you could see that NIB was struggling, and it's been struggling. And I would have thought that we shouldn't have waited for this DDEP to come before we could have taken a decision. The reason why is that they have challenges all over the place. We could have taken a decision on it in 2020. Either we sold it off, or we allow somebody to take it over, or merge.
Nonetheless, he does harbor concerns about ADB's financial stability, question whether it is in a suitable financial position to take over NIB.
At the current position, where I sit, I don't think the local banks are strong enough, especially the ADB, is strong enough to be able to match with NIB. And the difficulty with NIB is that NIB is an industrial bank, and ADB in its own sense is supposed to be a great bank. So I don't see the synergistic effect, right? We call it strategic fit. If you look at their portfolio, do they fit into ADB portfolio? That is even another one.
And that was a report by my colleague Michael Ogbodu. Now, in a bid to boost insurance adoption under the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, the West African Monetary Institute, WAMI, is calling for unified insurance regulations among ECOWAS member states. In an interview at the 6th College of Insurance Supervisors of WAMI organized in Accra, the Director of Financial Integration, Suleiman Tall, says this will go a long way to combat the persistently low penetration across the region.
It's right, the penetration, that is a fact. The penetration is still low. But it's not, I think you can do both. It's possible to do both. In country-wise and external, and also to open up the insurance sector, we can do both. But what is more important is really to harmonize. That's because we are going to have a single monetary zone, single currency, and then we need to harmonize everything, the rules. The rules need to be harmonized, so at least when you're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, you're in Guinea, you know everything is the same. Now, for the development side, it's open. To me, it's really the operators. They know exactly where to go. We, as a regulator, the supervisor, and the state, we need to make sure that we have the appropriate environment for them to go.
And that was Director of Financial Integration at WAMI, Suleiman Tal. Still on the space, the Association of Young Insurance Professionals Ghana has indicated that it will work with other industry players to create more awareness. This, the association says, will aid in expanding coverage. Addressing the media, Country Director Lawrence Daniels says the association will enhance the image of insurance in Ghana through partnerships.
As a young body, we'll be partnering this kind of bodies already in the system. We'll partner NIC in their advocacy, we'll partner GIA, we even partner IBAC and CELAC. You know, there's already something going on in the country for advocacy, at least to correct this kind of vast, the wrong stickers people use and stuff. So as we partner, then we'll be able to impact them more, especially with the youth. Because if the youth understand it more, I mean, this kind of errors won't be encouraged. So our focus, as I mentioned, is the youth. So as we partner with the NIC and the GIA, I believe these errors won't be in existence.
And that was Country Director of Association of Young Insurance Professionals in Ghana, Lawrence Daniels. Before we go, Labour consultant Austin Gami has expressed concern over the extent of abuse of pension funds in the country. He's calling on contributors to take an interest in the management of their pension funds.
I feel troubled when I hear about pensions in Ghana here because of the extent of abuse of the pension contribution of the working people, especially these few days when we are confronted with even these haircuts. They have taken control over the SNIT contribution and use it the way they like. They must stop. They must take their hands off the SNIT money. SNIT money is not government money. We must have people who are committed, whose integrity is impeccable, and whose investment capabilities and thinking outside the box is impeccable. And they must sit on that board. And we must demand the strategic plan that they have for the investment. We must demand the return on the investment. It must be done without default.
You just heard Labour consultant Austin Gami ending Business Daily with me, Bismark, Awusah. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Thanks for staying.